My wife has these Ohuhu markers. The reason I am doing these today is that she was saying they didn't feel premium to her. They didn't feel as good as everybody says. She doesn't have any experience with higher end markers. These or cheaper ones are what she's used to. So she was actually comparing it to cheaper stuff. She's like, I feel like the Five Below ones are just as good, if not better. These are smaller. Now they have the other line. These are the Oahu version instead of I forget what the other ones were. They're fatter markers. These are the thinner kind of marker, like they're thinner in your hand. So that's sort of like a slimmer design. She was saying these were drying out on her. And so she said that they weren't flowing as well as you might expect them to. So the first thing I want to do is inspect these by just drawing them on canvas, like swatching them out, seeing how they look. Also, she had said that the cap colors and obviously what's on the back don't really match the actual color. So interestingly, that peppermint color here, that color there, peppermint, according to this, it corresponds to what's on the front of the box on the back, which is a nice touch. However, I just want to see if they're from an artist's perspective. Now, my wife, I think of her as an artist. She doesn't think she's an artist, but she is. Her opinion, of course, is as valid just as anyone's is. My perspective is more about illustration, so I kind of am curious to see how they behave. So let us try. I'm going to start with these, which are basically primaries. These ones are, well, according to the box, they're basics, right? And then these are pastels. So these are a lighter version of these, supposedly. And they don't quite line up. I mean, there's no orange there or yellow. Most of you probably wouldn't know who John Caparulo is. There's no orange, there's no yellow. Okay, so I'm going to try these, and we'll see how they go. In no particular order, I'm just going to go from left to right, the way that the box is. So if I can try to keep these, I'll just keep these in here. How about that? All right, so we're using this one first. Make sure I'm on camera. That's very vibrant right there. You can see how bright that orange is. Oh, wow, yeah. It's quite bright. And that's flowing okay. Let's try the chisel side. Sometimes one side can dry over the other. Oh, well, that was nice. I think she used the pastels mostly, so, all right, chisel. That looks pretty good. Some people love markers. Some people can't stand them. I like markers. I'm sort of in the middle. I mean, I like pretty much everything that makes color or marks. I'm not too particular. I don't have a favorite, to be honest with you. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but it's true. Let's see if I can remember. Oh, see, I dropped another thing. I can't. I'm always dropping stuff, I swear. Oh, that blue is really quite rich. I'm trying to keep the strokes the same, too. Okay, well, let's see if we can keep this in order. So, I mean, look at the colors of the basics. That does not match this color at all. Okay, and this is almost like it says pomegranate on the color. So the blue one, this lighter blue one this is almost a purple. It says bluebell. I don't know why they don't just have like purple. Maybe the formulation didn't allow them to, so they just call it whatever color they want. Okay, so the chisel is definitely laying down more ink, which is to be expected, and it's also going to be a little bit richer in pigment, it looks like. Now with like water, these are alcohol-based markers, so you can go pretty quickly with them without them drying out. But if you do find they're dry, one trick is to soak one side in alcohol, just a little bit of alcohol. All I have is 90. I have 91% alcohol. This is all they had available at the time. It's hard to come by sometimes because, you know, since the epidemic. 70 is usually preferred because it takes longer to evaporate for cleaning and stuff. However, that'll do the job in a pinch for things like this. I have it for cleaning CPUs, but never mind that. And also just to clean up stuff. It's very helpful. Let me see, I'll put these back. Okay, so far they're fine. Not terrible. Let me put these in the way that they were. Now, you know, they sit on the shelf sometimes for a while, and they could have, you know, because we lay them flat, so they might have balanced out and gotten nice and resaturated, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like the alcohol, basically, and the pigment has moved around enough to dissolve it back in there. See, I can't tell. That's like a mustard yellow, and this is like a, you see that? Yeah, yellow. It's like a mustard yellow. This is not that color. This is pineapple. That is not pineapple. That looks like mustard. So the colors don't match on the box. That's not that big of a deal to me anyway. Maybe to you. Maybe it bothers you. Okay, so that's the basics. Those seem to be okay. But like I said, she primarily uses really pastels and, you know, like whimsical coloring. And I almost never use pastels because I'm a guy. No, I just don't really like the look of pastels. I know. Personally, I don't use them for that. Okay, so gonna try again to leave them in order. Those are the basics. That brush pen's on the way out because I used it a bunch and I forgot about that. So I'm gonna use these. I'm trying to write in here. It's kind of hard actually because this thing's in my way. And I've never actually tried to draw or write on watercolor. It's interesting. I can do other tests. I just wanted to see if they were dry. This is the pastels, right? I'm intentionally writing slow because I write like crap most of the time. That slipped on me. That wasn't my fault, promise. Yeah, those look as vibrant in the camera as they are in person. They're nice and bright actually. So far, not too bad. Considering for one thing they were on sale, on the other thing they're not highly expensive. expensive. Okay, I'm gonna leave these in here. I think she just doesn't like markers, to be honest. All right, these are the pastels. This is the yellow pastel. It's eggnog yellow, it says. Hang on. No, I'm not against using pastels in art. I just don't use them as my primaries. I would use them as like as my main palette. I would use them as a highlight or blending or something like that. This one is the peppermint one. And if I hadn't mentioned this, these are only 6 markers in each case, and they are the Oahu. Cannot pronounce that for anything. So, fine side first. It does feel a little dry. It could just also be the pigment load, but I can try to soak that in alcohol, but I'll do that in a minute. Could also just be the color. This is turquoise. Turquoise. Yeah, I'm old. Turquoise. That's the chisel side. These are labeled fine and chisel, as you can see here. Fine, chisel. I just wasn't paying attention. That's nice and pigmented. That's actually quite dark for pastel. And then this one... This is the blue for this one. It looks darker than that. Okay. All right. They're going to be a little bit transparent because they're transparent, translucent, however you want to think of it. I don't know. Words are hard. This is the bright lavender, it says. Yeah. 50-50 shot. I grabbed the wrong side again. Oh, wow. That's really bright. It's very pink. It is a little, what's the word I'm for? This one does feel a little dry. This felt a little tiny bit dry, but again, they are lighter color. So I think what I'm going to do is try to soak that in alcohol and see if it helps any. And I'll compare it directly to that one. That's the one I need. So for the sake of this is how I would do it. I'm going to grab a container and just soak the end of the marker, both ends actually, just for a couple of seconds. It doesn't need much. Time for a good old sip of Java. Alrighty then. So I didn't put much in here, just enough to put the tip of that in there. So I'm going to try, if you look and see, this is a little transparent. So are these two. This has some, they're translucent, transparent, however you want to think of it. You can see through it, basically. But this has some whiteness coming through, so some of the pigment load isn't there. At least that's how it looks. So I'm going to just soak the nib like this for a second, and through dynamic, like this, dynamic equilibrium, we're going to pretend. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to cap it, and I'm going to flip it over to the other side too. And then it is alcohol based, as I said. And apparently these pens or these markers can be reloaded, refilled, and give it a good old shake. Now you don't have to do that. I'm just trying to speed up the process a little bit. Using centrifugal force. Let's hope it is. Hopefully it'll do its thing. So I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute. If you find your markers are drying out, you can try that, and maybe it'll get some of that pigment flowing again because it's, it's dissolvable, it's miscible, as it were, in alcohol. Now, if it completely dries, it's possible to cake on it. You can't get it they create a film or whatever, and it won't reflow. But it's at least worth a shot. It doesn't cost anything if you already have alcohol laying around, to give it a try. One thing that's really good to have is a colorless blender, which I do not have, but you can blend the markers together. Just try to use similar colors because you will get the color on there. So when you're done, you can kind of wipe the color off of the marker, just as a heads up. That's probably long enough. Let me see if I can get this. I'm gonna try it again next to this. Now that seems to flow a little better. As you can see, compared to this one, this is a little tiny bit darker. We'll just see. Let's go. Let's just try a couple chisels, couple little lines. It is kind of dry, but it's also very, very light in color. That's okay though. It's not one of those in other world scenarios. But like I said, if that happens and you find that you can't get it to flow, try that. Try throwing some alcohol in there and just let it soak for a little bit. It should hopefully get it going. You can always use more. If you feel like it's still not working, let it soak longer. You can give it a minute. It'll absorb. So I will try that again. It is getting some more flow because there's like a little, almost like a band of lightness in here, and then that's not here. So it does help, but then you have it up here. So is that because it's drying, or is it because I'm going too fast? If I go slow, it gives the marker time to pull through because this paper is dry, obviously. Marker wet, paper dry, dynamic equilibrium, wet goes to dry. Pretty simple, right? So let me try it again. We'll let it soak a little longer this time. There we go. I think I just saw like a bubble. Yeah, that's definitely flowing more now. Yeah, I'm seeing bubbles pop out. I can feel like the binder or something in there. So let it sit. Give it a little shake. Actually, let me just go for it real quick. Let me see what it'll do. Yeah, it seems to be doing better. It's certainly more wet now. Yeah, that's working. So it's not perfect, but it is very, very light color. So expect less pigment, thus lighter color. And it's going to take a little more persuasion to get it to go. Now, if you had an alcohol blender, clear blender, what you can do is push these around. It'll get that. It'll thin that out and it'll blend nicely. Then you just rub that off on a piece of paper or something, or a towel or whatever. Get some of that other color off of it. Or you could dip it in alcohol and rub it off, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think they're fine, honestly. I mean, I don't think it was really her fault. I don't think she was making that up or anything. I think what's the reason is this is so light. So this specific color, I do agree, is a little drier than the rest. Some of them have, like this pink is a little bit of drag in it too. So I don't think that's necessarily her fault. And I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, my wife, because I will call her out if I think that she's wrong, because she calls me out. I'm wrong all the time. I'm going to take these out of this package. Because you know why? This box that it comes in, this little cute little packaging, these are horribly inaccurate. Like, these are the pastel colors. Okay, the only one that seems to be pretty close is this green. This green here, it's peppermint green, I think is what it says, or mint green or something. Yeah, it's peppermint. That one's close. This green is close. That blue is not too far off. Okay, that purple. This pink is super bright. It is not that kind of, that's almost like a lavender and pink mix. And then that eggnog color is off. It's not anywhere near that shade. I'm going to get rid of this thing, so I'm going to show you. Nope. Yes. This is darker than what that is. And this is lighter than what is. Lighter than that is. And then for these, let's do the same thing. Oh, and to be fair, that's matching the color to the back, right? Let's match the color to the front on the pastels as well. Okay, so this is the cap color. Not quite exactly right, but within the set, sure, you know which one it is. Not exactly right either, but again, within the set. Now, I don't know that I would call that turquoise. The color here, this says turquoise. This is definitely a turquoise, but this comes out more of a deeper green. Anyway, it's not quite as pastel. That's much richer green than you would imagine. I actually would imagine it would belong in this set as a difference. Kind of like if you had a 12 color set, this would belong in there. All of these together though, makes a pretty decent set of colors. Let's see. This blue, nope. I mean, look at the difference in the cap color. Look at this, how dark that blue is. It looks like that. And then when you actually put it down, it's that much pigment load. So I imagine it's just that these are lighter pigment loads of the ones for it. That's all it is. Makes sense if they did it that way. So this could be that. I mean, I don't know for sure. Can't really tell you. But I imagine this could be this. If you just lighten up the pigment load of these two, you can get those. And this. Maybe if you mix these, you can get that. I don't know. I'm being speculative here. Don't quote me. Okay, so now we have... And this is hard to tell with these caps. This is supposed to be that one, so no. This is supposed to be that one. That one's okay. It's definitely way light or darker, again, than this is light. And the same here. This one is incredibly deceiving too, because this almost looks like a light lavender, and it's blue. So yeah. Now on to the... Wow, I couldn't even tell. These are the basics. Look at this. Look at this crap. Okay, this one is supposed to be red. That looks brown, right? And then this is looks like a cornflower blue, but it's not even blue. It's violet. That's actually pretty close, specifically to this shading of it. By looking at it, that is nowhere near. That's brown. I don't know what they were thinking there. This is blue. Sure, that's green enough. That's yellowish. This looks mustardy, almost like a dirty mustard. I don't even know how to say that. Mustard's brighter yellow than that. That just looks like burnt yellow. And then this orange looks more umber. It almost looks burnt. Again, they're not accurate, so this is pretty well useless unless you just want to reorder them, right? But you know what? It's got it on the cap itself, so there's no point in that. All the caps have color codes on them, so that's good. If you want or need to reorder some, you can. Where did I put the other color? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I'm getting confused trying to figure out which color this actually set belongs to by not being in the set. So this is supposed to be that one. I got that mixed up. Okay, so let's see here. Let's start from the top. The orange. Within the color. Knowing that that's the only orange you have, it's a marigold orange. It's really bright, but this is done. Again, it doesn't really quite match the color that's there on the paper. I guess against this white marker, it does kind of look that way. See how bright that is versus how this actually looks. I don't know. The yellow, that's pretty close. I'm not trying to be picky. I'm just being honest with you. That green, it's close enough. It looks darker than what that almost looks pastel green. As green as that is, you'd think that that kind of looks pastel. And then this is the deep royal blue. It's a little lighter than that is dark, but at least you know. Yeah, that's the blue one. Reaching up and grabbing it, you can tell it's blue. But the green, it looks lavender. And then the purple, that's pretty close to that one. That one's actually probably the closest one so far. And the red, look at that, dead on. So these two are pretty good. That is my, 2 cents. So ultimately, yeah, they're fine. I like the basic ones better in terms of the color laydown, the color load, the pigment load, however you want to think of it. These do better. These are better than those in terms of laying the color down. However, they're pretty much, that's like a lightened version, that's like a lightened version, but the rest of these colors all look very different. So that's kind of interesting. Take that or leave it. I don't know. The next thing to do is to draw something with just those markers and see how they go. I will say I have used them, but I didn't use all of them because, like I said, she wanted me to try them. But I figured I would go and test them and see how all of them look independently. And I personally think these are fine. These are this might be good for blending this would be good for blending that, but these are nice because they're different from this set, so this kind of gives you a whole set of colors that are very different. These just look like lightened versions of those two to me. That's my 2 cents on that. If you found this useful, please let me know. Leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, share with everybody you know. And with that said, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.